cool. Okay, so I'm Dan Mullin with Remax Estate Properties, and we're doing another series called Cool Things People Do in the South Bay. Today will be a great episode. We're with Sean O'Malley, and Sean is an artist. He's in a band, he does paintings, he does murals, computer graphics, that type of stuff. So you do a little bit of everything. So we're at Torrance Memorial Hospital, and Sean did a lot of the artwork here. So we're going to go through and check out the artwork that he's done here. Okay, so now Sean's going to take us inside, and he's going to show us one of his projects where he's actually painting therapy dogs. This is the main entrance to the Torrance Memorial Hospital, and right when you walk in here, you see a whole row of dogs that Sean has painted. So why don't you tell me what you do here, Sean?
Well, they initially had a wall on the west side, a construction wall, which they wanted to beautify. So they got the dog volunteers, the dogs that go and visit patients when the people may not have family to come and visit them. The dogs will go up and just, therapeutic patient care. So they gave me 25 photos, and we put them on construction grade plywood. It's about an inch thick, and they stuck them outside for a couple of years. They liked them so much they had me come back and do another set of 25. Like this one of Buddy, you can tell hasn't been outside, so it's weathered much better since it's been inside instead of outside. They've held together really well. It's nice to see them again.
So what goes into painting something like this? You have
Start off with the construction grade plywood, which is usually in a bit of a mess. So I have to spackle it and then primer it and sand it all down and do 2 or 3 layers of that so I get a nice smooth surface. I really enjoy a smooth surface, so I've gotten into painting on wood panels a lot as opposed to a canvas. Canvas is more traditional, but it doesn't provide the same smooth surface you can get from a wood panel. So 3 coats of primer and sanding, and then I go into the basic just laying out the blacks and the whites of the dog. No color yet, you just start off with the black and the white.
So black and white, you're talking about a drawing basically?
Basically a drawing of the dog and where it's going to fit onto the board. And then I go and I lay in the background. You start from the bottom and just layer your way up. Painting is all about layers. And the more time I have to spend putting more layers, the better it's going to end up looking. So with these, I tend to go about 5 layers. Some paintings I've done, you only get time for 1 layer.
Yeah.
And it looks like just a sketch. Much more cartoony because things are just blocked in. But yeah, you start with the background first, and then you start layering the darker background hair, and then coming in and doing highlights on top of it. Like the ears. It's always a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, and then where do you do this? Do you have a studio?
Little tea house in our backyard.
All right.
Usually, because I do a lot of murals, I end up doing them at the location. But something like this, where it's small enough you can transport it. Yeah, I'll pull it into our dining room and just do it on the kitchen table if I need to, whatever I can fit around the house. So.
And how long does it take for each picture? About
a week.
About a week, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are supposed to be done in 1 day each, but I can never.
You're a perfectionist.
Melissa is always on me about the fact that I can spend a whole day just, on one small section, and she's always hurrying me along.
Yeah.
And it's like the scene from Michelangelo where the Pope comes in and says, "How long, Michelangelo? How long?" And he says, "It'll be done when it's done."
Yeah.
And yeah, I can spend way too much time.
But that's probably what makes you a good artist, correct?
Well, I hope. Yeah. People seem to enjoy it. Good. I sure enjoy doing it.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in the main entrance of the Torrance Memorial Hospital, and this is of the old building. They just completed a whole new section of the building. But Sean painted this whole mural right here as part of the entry for the hospital. So Sean, tell us a little bit about what you did here.
Well, there used to be windows here back in the old days, and they had to cover those up with these walls. And so in order to open up the space, they asked me to do something which is very similar to what we did in the volunteer lounge. The volunteer lounge just focuses over on the right side. You can see the Redondo Beach Queen's necklace, if you will. And this time we had more space, so we opened it up and you can go all the way over to Catalina. The marbling is very similar to what we did on the gift shop, which we'll see in a little bit. And I just wanted something that allowed people to sit down. It's a nervous time when you have to come to the hospital, so something peaceful is peaceful, tranquil is what we're going for. So dropped Catalina in. Didn't have a whole lot of time. This wrought iron took a lot longer than I was anticipating. So I was hoping we were going to eventually get roses growing up on it and growing up on the pillars, but we just didn't have time for it. So it's a pretty basic painting. Use a sea sponge for a lot of it. So go through and I'll drop the dark backgrounds of the bushes and the trees and then, or the grass, and then come in with a sea sponge and just do some quick dabbing. Same thing with the water. It's got a layering that goes from lighter to darker, but it's basically just swiping with the sea sponge. And sky is the same way, just going with the clouds. And kept it pretty basic. You can't see everything. I tried to keep the roads pretty much intact as they are. And what's this point called? This little triangle in the rocks that's down there?
That's Flat Rock Point, yeah.
Flat Rock Point.
So that's the cove right there.
Yeah.
Spent many hours surfing there.
Yeah, it's a nice place.
Yeah. Did you get me in there?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
There was one guy that was going to slip me a 20 and he wanted me to
Yeah, I'm going to give you a 20, 25. I mean,
we got a couple of boats in there. But yeah.
So did you do this off a picture or?
Yeah, went up to the point where there's a radio tower or something and just stood and took pictures all the way around.
So you just made your own panoramic basically?
Basically.
Yeah.
And then this house, which is also featured in the volunteer lounge, somebody came up to me one time and told me that was their house and that it looks really nice.
Oh, cool.
I hope.
So where do you think we'll head next?
Let's check the volunteer lounge. It's very similar to this view, but I spent a little bit more time on it, so the plants look a lot nicer. I got flowers in there. That's the thing with plants. If you spend just a little bit of time, you can get the green. If you spend a little bit more time, you can add the flowers. So I'm always happier with the painting when I can add flowers.
All right, very good. Let's move on. Okay, so on the way to the volunteer lounge, we happen to see these. So tell me a little bit about these.
Well, Jackson, I remember Jackson was tough because it was such a dark picture. They only send a small snapshot they took, and then they send it to me on email. So sometimes the pictures are good and sometimes the pictures aren't that great. And Jackson was one where the contrast between the black and the white, the black really just disappeared. And so it was difficult to find a way to capture Jackson, but I really enjoyed the sort of coffee flavor of the entire background, just like an old leather chair or something. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way it came out. Sometimes these things just surprise me. Looks like he's taking a little bit of damage. Got knocked off a little bit.
Well, it's kind of cool. You're just cruising down a hallway here, and there's more of your artwork. So
yeah, wow. Phoebe's a little magical.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I remember Heaven as well. Heaven was a really nice one. It's very dramatic. It was a beautiful photo. The sun was coming in from behind, so it just lit the back of the dog up and made for a really nice contrast. I've done several more pet portraits just based on that idea of the light coming from the back and backlighting it.
So it's almost like photography. There's backlighting and everything in it. So
yeah, and it's also like photography where there's a lot of happy accidents because I can try and do something, but based on time and based on just not being sure exactly what is going to happen when I layer colors next to each other. Sometimes I layer colors together and it just doesn't work and you have to start over. That's the nice thing about paint is you can fix it. It just layers on top of itself. Yeah. But sometimes you finish one and you come back the next day and you're just amazed at how it looks. You know, I feel like I'm not exactly part of the process. I'm just the first person that gets to see it.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
And are you ever disappointed with your work?
Oh yeah.
And then what do you do?
You spend more time. That's the nice thing about paint. You can just layer on top of it. It's not like marble where if you cut something away, it's gone. That would be very frustrating for me.
Okay, so here we are in the volunteer room of the Torrance Memorial Hospital with all the volunteers. And Sean did the picture in here also, which is similar to the one he did out in the main lobby. So it's designed to look like a window. So we're in this room, and there's no windows here, but it kind of feels like there's a window. So tell us a little about this one.
Had a little bit more time with this one, so was able to add, especially over in this section, flowers. Again, not a lot of time on the flowers, but you know, you take a sponge and you apply color. And got Wylands,
Oh, cool.
little blue
Yeah.
building.
That's the same house you had in the other one, so.
Somebody's added some birds.
Oh, you didn't do those?
No.
Now, how does that make you feel?
It's a nice addition.
You okay with that?
I don't mind. Yeah, and like the window on that one.
All right. So do you use like this?
Okay, you're from
I'm surprised I don't get to see these all the time. I spent a lot less time on the buildings than I did on the one in the front.
Okay, but you did more on the flowers and everything.
Okay.
More
So.
on the flowers on this
And
one.
take
And
the
I
two
think
medical records? Okay.
if I had
Thank
my
you.
redos, I
Can we hand
might
carry
do
it?
buildings like this,
Okay,
which are a little
thank
bit
you.
quicker, and then have more time for flowers out there.
Yeah. How come you didn't get more smog in?
Trying to beautify.
Okay, so this is the gift shop wall of Torrance Memorial Hospital, where I bought many gifts before. So Sean painted this too, and this is the first work he did here that's still standing.
Yes.
He did another big project, but that was a temporary construction thing they took down. But this kind of inspired some of the other stuff he did, so.
It did. It has the wall texture that we used in the front area with the pillars and also in the volunteer area to make the window pop off. It was a white wall to begin with. So in order to make the window look like it was bringing light into the room, I wanted a dark background around the window. And also to, if you remember the white window frame was harkening back towards this.
Oh, really? Okay.
You know, and also the dark background for the window so that it looks like light's coming in through there comes from this marble idea where they wanted the gift shop to look separate from the rest of the hospital. So you have the main white walls of the hospital, and then to make the gift shop stand out, we use this nice marble, faux marble, which also is done with the sea sponge.
Yeah.
Just a base coat of semi-gloss, then a big sea sponge to put the color on, and then you come back in with an even darker color to do the veining. Yeah.
So who tells you to do all this? So you're saying,
Connie Center.
Connie, and what's her role here at the hospital?
She's the one that's in charge of building everything, the new building. in
Wow.
particular. And yeah, she's
That's
the one
good.
that
So
pulls
she
one.
has kind of her vision, and then you interpret her vision with your vision, and
Right.
you come up with all this.
Yeah.
Good.
bounce ideas.
How much creative freedom does she give you?
A lot.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. All right, we're heading up with Sean's family, or part of Sean's family, and we're heading up to the cafeteria where Sean's done some more work. You want to be famous? Just say yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in the cafeteria of the Torrance Memorial Hospital. This is the old building. The new building that you see off Lomita Boulevard is going to be open fairly soon, and then they'll turn all this, they're going to take the patients out of here, and they're going to move them all to the next building. So anyway, there's a great little patio area out here, and it's part of the cafeteria, and Sean did all the artwork out here also. So here's what he did. Not a lot of people out here right now, but I'm sure it'll be full soon. All right, Sean, what do we have going here?
Well, what we have going here is the outside cafeteria where they wanted to hide some construction they were doing on the other side. There's a rooftop, and I guess they were installing an air conditioning unit or something, and they wanted to hide that. So they had me start with these 4 to 5 panels, and they were going to just last a couple of months, and then they were going to tear them out. So again, it's just construction grade plywood. And they just put 2 pieces together. You can see where they're starting to break apart, I suppose, from a lot of sun on the far side. But they liked them so much, they had me do more. So it actually extends all the way across. And fills the entire exterior of the cafeteria.
And then this is more of a mountain scene, obviously, with lakes
Yeah, this is actually very similar to what I did for the first project, the TCU wall, which was 75 feet long, I believe. And it was one where they told me it was only going to be up for about 3 months, and then they were going to tear it down. So I spent 3 nights knocking out just simple trees like this. And again, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this because it wasn't supposed to last. So the trees are just very quickly brush strokes, slapping paint down. Same with the lake, I didn't want to spend a lot of time. So just simple reflections, big dots of flowers. I really prefer working in higher detail. So when I have a piece like this, I don't have a lot of time to get the background done because it's just a quick project. The budget doesn't allow for me to spend a lot of time on the trees. but I'll come in and I'll lay an element in there. And it's all about having time to do the elements so that the elements look nice. Your eye will gravitate to the simple elements, nice splashing in the water and stuff like that. And I think I tried to get 2 or 3 elements per board. Sometimes I was only able to get like a nice plant with flowers in there, but I enjoy doing the animals. I've always enjoyed the animals and the people.
And then, so you do these in your studio, each panel?
I actually did them in my backyard.
In your backyard?
Yeah, we have a trailer we use for our music equipment, which I brought over, and they loaded up the trailer with these pieces of plywood. They're very heavy, but just muscle them into the backyard and lay them out all next to each other, and just painted them in my backyard. And I thought when they were done, I could take them back to my backyard.
Yeah.
It never happened that way. They ended up ordering more, and they just installed them permanently.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
So, did the waterfall just come out of your imagination, or just...
Yeah, completely made up. On something like this, there's no photo reference other than for the independent elements. Picture of a raccoon, something for the kids to find.
Yeah.
Always want to make it a little interactive, so you put the cute stuff down low where the kids are going to find it, and you can put the more dramatic stuff up top.
Yeah.
And of course, Melissa is a huge fan of grizzly bears, so I had to include some grizzly bears for Melissa.
Those are the little fun facts that people reading out here would have no idea. There's a reason for those bears.
That's it.
That's your wife.
It's Melissa, the mama bear. Little kids playing with the butterfly.
Very good.
From a distance, it looks like they're fighting, but up close, they're just having fun.
They're buddies.
It's very similar to siblings.
Yeah. Okay, so right here is, we just got off the elevator on the 4th floor, and this is the pediatric ward here, and Sean did the artwork for the pediatric ward here, or most of it. So tell us a little bit about what you did for the pediatric ward here.
Well, the idea was to give a sense of park to the kids who couldn't go out to play, since a lot of times kids are stuck inside and they don't get a chance to go out into the park. We thought we would bring the park to them, so they let me change are these earthquake support pillars, I believe? Yeah, earthquake support pillars. We changed them into trees and went with a more cartoony style with strong outlines, and they even let me paint the ceiling so it has sky on the ceiling, just to try and open the place up. We've got a lot of elements with, again, down low for the kids. Please feed the squirrels.
Oh yeah, over there.
Squirrels playing guitar. Hidden elements like the squirrel up in the tree. I think there's a squirrel in the tree up there.
Oh, cool.
And then, back when our son was younger, got Liam and Nico Peters playing soccer when I was the coach of their team.
How'd they do?
They did great.
Good?
Yeah.
Was it the coaching or the talent?
It was all the talent.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, they taught me a lot about soccer because I really don't know much at all.
When I was coaching, I always said it was about me. It had nothing to do with the kids.
It was just about how well they listened, right?
Exactly.
So we just included a lot of elements. The nice thing about being able to go up and go all the way to the sky and paint actual ceiling tiles in this next section. This was easy because it's basic drywall ceiling, but over here we got the ceiling tiles, so sponging those was a little bit difficult, but one of the nice things is you get to put kites or balloons
Oh yeah.
all the way up into it. Here's our daughter Nita riding her tricycle.
As something you did at night also?
Yes,
Yeah.
again a nighttime thing. I would show up about 9 o'clock and then paint until 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah. So as a pediatric ward, is it more people in the day and night? It's pretty quiet here, or people in and out all the time?
It's mostly at the hospital. In each of the locations I go to, it's mostly a daytime thing, and they like me to start at 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because it does slow down. People are much safer when they're asleep.
Yeah.
It's during the daytime they tend to hurt themselves and get some help. So, at
Very
nighttime
good.
it was a very difficult project in terms of when the kids are here, they're usually upset, they're sick, they're crying.
Yeah.
And the nurses that work here must be very strong, because it was hard for me as a dad to sit listening to kids in jeopardy, kids in pain,
Yeah, yeah.
and to not be able to do anything about it. other than to paint for them.
Yeah.
So I was glad I could help, but it just felt like I wish there was more I could do. For instance, we have the lady that runs the department. She liked my dog portraits enough that she asked me to include her dog into the pediatric mural.
Oh, there it is. And she's still running? She's still
I don't
here?
know.
Yeah.
I never met her. I was just asked to paint her dog, so I got
Very
a
good.
photo with the dog.
All right, so you did this whole area right here with the behind it. Yeah.
It's a little bit challenging cutting all the corners, but it was fun to do.
And then tell us a little about the aquarium down here.
Well, I think Nemo's and Dory are in there somewhere. But it was just fun making fantastical fish that the kids could enjoy. Cowfish. Oftentimes I'm not sure these things actually exist, but
Yeah, so you made up your own fish species?
I must have been grumpy.
You got a seahorse in there.
A bad game.
Yeah, the one game your team lost.
Yeah.
That's cool. So did you do this off a picture or just?
I look at inspiration. I mean,
Yeah.
I think God's the best artist, and I just try and make a cheap imitation, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
I look at inspiration from photos, and
Yeah.
after that, it's just playing with colors.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're in the radiology department, and this is a room where they do x-rays, and Sean actually did the paintings in this room, and sometimes they x-ray kids here, so it's kind of a happy theme maybe to distract the kids. So tell me a little bit about what you did in this room here.
Yeah, it's all underwater. I really enjoy Wyland's work, and so being able to do something for the kids, again, we talked about up in the pediatric area, Finding Nemo, tucked in there. And just playful elements, you know. And for the kids lying on the table, you get a sea turtle cruising by. And they had some requests of dolphins and orca.
Mm-hmm.
They were very liberal about just letting me put the elements in. And
This is cool stuff.
again, it's one of those paintings that you do that you hope nobody you know ever sees, because you don't want them in here.
If they see it, it's on video.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to see it
No.
personally, so
Don't want them in here getting x-rayed.
yeah. So
But
did you do this all at night also?
All at night?
Yeah.
Again, yeah. It's the downtime.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But yeah, a lot of time spent with the small elements.
Yeah.
It was a really nice one. They gave me a lot of time with it.
So looking at it several years after you've done it, what do you think? How does it impact you?
I like it a lot.
Yeah, it still looks good?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
I like the whole composition with the coral and everything.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Service
Well,
to be a part
I
of.
think your painting makes people happy, so.
Good deal. Thank you, Pat.
All right, Sean. Well, thanks for the tour. It was awesome. I'm super impressed, and it's fascinating to see what you do in there. And I'm very glad. I mean, you make people happy. I mean, that's just got to be a wonderful feeling, right?
That's the goal.
Yep.
And thank you very much for coming out and shooting the video, because a lot of the stuff in there, you hope nobody ever sees those paintings because they're in pre-op or they're in an x-ray room or the pediatric wing. You know, it's a lot of paintings where
Yeah.
hoping to make the people that are in there happy, but you hope the people you love never have to go see them. So
That's a very good point.
yeah, nice of you to go in there with your video
Yeah,
camera
good.
and bring it out to the public.
I don't want to see him personally in there, other than on the video. So good. So great work. So all right. Anyway, so that wraps up this episode, and I'll put Sean's. You can see it right down here, o'malleyart.com. So if you need any information about Sean and what he does or how to contact him, go to o'malleyart.com. And if you're thinking of buying or selling real estate in the South Bay, this is what I do. I work for Remax Estate Properties, been selling property for over 25 years in the area. And give me a contact. The contact information will be on the screen here. And thanks for watching the video. Appreciate it. All right, Sean, thanks.
Yeah, good episode.
All right.
Very good. So Buddy's a therapy dog.
Yes.
And what does a therapy dog do?
He visits patients,
Mm-hmm.
he visits staff, he cheers everybody up, he likes people,
Yeah.
he craves attention.
So where does Buddy live?
Buddy he lives in Redondo Beach
Okay.
with me.
So so it's your dog basically.
Yes, it
All right, very
is.
good. So you have a therapy dog.
Yes,
And
I do.
did he have to go through any special training?
Oh
or?
yes,
Yeah.
he had to go through a lot of special
Yeah.
training, and he has to also have a certain disposition.
Yeah.
So, first it has to have a, really good disposition
Yeah.
before you can even begin training.
Yeah.
So, and he had that type of disposition.
So did you look for a therapy dog with a good disposition, or just
No.
had the disposition and go, okay, let's do this?
Yeah,
So
I was actually approached up in PV by Pat Carlson. I really never thought about doing this.
Yeah.
And Pat approached me because my dog got along very well with other dogs and well with other people.
Very good. And is this all volunteer for you, or do you
Yes.
get paid for it? So
Oh,
this is
no.
just all
It's
for
all
the good,
volunteer.
out of the goodness of your heart. So,
Yes.
and then you gave the picture to Sean then?
They wanted to put the pictures up along the wall and everything, so they took a picture and gave it to Sean, and he did a beautiful job of painting all of those pictures.
Beautiful.
It was great.
And how long's Buddy been a therapy dog?
He's been about 4 years now.
And is he kind of famous when he's at the park and stuff? Do other dogs know him as Buddy the therapy dog?
Yes, they do. They
Good.
do.
They've seen his picture everywhere.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
All right, Buddy. Look at that. I don't know what that's going to look like, but